welcome to Nashville, everybody. Week 2 action here on a Tuesday night. I'm Greg Olenek, joined by Nick Halda for the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series. Nick, welcome to one of my favorite cities. I think I say this every time we broadcast here. Nashville, Tennessee, man.
I gotta love Nash Vegas. I mean,
Absolutely.
I was a little late to the track. I almost, got caught in all those bachelorette party trucks. So, there's a long line of those all through town. So,
yeah, it's always a great time. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Nashville, but I highly recommend it if you haven't. But we're going to have a good one here tonight. 135 laps here at the Nashville Super Speedway, a relatively new course for a lot of the guys out here, and it's a difficult one too. We're hearing a lot of guys are going to be battling tires here this evening, as opposed to fuel that we usually see out there.
well, now that it's back on the circuit, and now NASCAR's longest concrete oval. Of course, when you think of concrete ovals, the first one that comes to mind is Dover and the Monster Mile, and we always talk about tire wear there, and it's going to be no different here. Completely different race to what we had to open the season at Daytona.
Yeah, a little bit of a longer race last season when they were here, 151 laps. Won by Timothy Latham, led the last one at the end. Most laps led in last season's race goes to Joseph Causey. He led 100 of them out there, so look for him to be strong here this evening. Last weekend's Daytona Series winner. So while we're talking about our last week's winner, let's go ahead and take a look at those Cup Series championship points. And no surprise to see Joseph Causey up there at the top. 26-point cushion over that cut line. That's going to pay dividends here early on to kind of give you some breathing room, because wins don't lock you in here, Nick.
No, wins do not lock you in, and remember, each point is a spot on the track. Of course, there are some bonus points that we'll talk about later as well, but for all intents and purposes, each point is one spot on the track, so that really does it gives you a little bit of breathing room in case you get one of those early wrecks or something like that.
Yeah, so take a look at the rest of your top five. No surprise to see a few tank racing guys. You see Seth Berger there in second, Dalton Tucker there in third, last season's champion Timothy Latham there in fourth, and Emerson Ardon wrapping out the top five there. Brandon Domain, the first driver below the cut line. So let's take a look at those team standings now with 1 week in the book and 4 teams coming out 1-0 after last week. Tank Racing, Gear Up Motorsports, Bobby Anderson Racing, and Rat Pack Racing, all in order of points scored. So Tank Racing coming away with the most points of the week. Last week they take the top spot. Phoenix Virtual Racing, JW Racing, and Yellow Stripe Motorsports all starting off 0-1. So that is going to make these week 2 matchups all that much more important, Nick, with Tank Racing going up against JW Racing. That's going to be a heavyweight match right there. PVR going up against Rat Pack Racing, and Gear Up Motorsports, the defending team champs, going up against Bobby Anderson Racing. And Yellow Stripe Motorsports going to get that bye here, as we still do not have 8 teams to round out this Cup Series league. So it's going to be an exciting week 2, and it's going to be an important week 2. Don't want to come out 0-2 out the gate.
No, I'm sure when Yellow Stripe saw the schedule and, hey, start off 0-1, but now you get the bye here, so you get a victory. I'm sure that's a load off their shoulders, so you can just get out there and run their race. And you're right, Tank and JW, that should be a heck of a matchup.
Absolutely. So I want to give a quick shout out to a few of our sponsors as well. No surprise to see TJ's Team Foundation here on SRN. Can't thank them enough for coming back on board here this season. Very happy to partner with these guys over at morethan-a-cape.org. Please head over and check out their website right now. Go ahead, learn everything about them, even just spread the website address. It goes a long way, and a very easy link to follow and donate if that is something that you're interested in doing. So not much more time left in qualifying here. Let's go ahead and give another one of our shout outs here for our sponsors, Buttkicker. Go ahead and head over to buttkicker.com and see what they're all about. I mean, a lot of people here on the sim use Buttkicker, and it's no surprise. It's a great piece of equipment.
I think it's made the #1 on my Christmas list to my wife. Definitely. That's one thing I always talk about in the sim. You don't feel the actual. Now you can with the Buttkicker, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So before we head out there on the track, let's go ahead and give Silverback Tax Solutions a quick shout out as well. No surprise, they've been here every season long, and tax season is right around the corner too, so go ahead once again and check them out at silverbacktacks.com and the number right there on your screen. So looking like we're getting everybody gridded up out here on the track. So let's waste no more time and head out on the surface where Brad Herman is going to be our pole sitter, it looks like, here tonight, as my iRacing is already acting up. We talked about it before the broadcast, Nick. The Emmy, we're just going to throw it out the window here since I kind of clipped the music off the beginning of the broadcast anyway, huh?
Yeah, it's because I'm involved. See, my wife said, whatever, Murphy and his law has nothing on me. If it can't go wrong, it will. So
I feel the same way working in TV. So we're just going to move on and go ahead down our grid here for race number 2 of the Buttkicker Cup Series. Brad Herman out there on the top of the board. Dalton Tucker right to his outside. So 2 SRN champions on the front row. Johan Seminario, a rookie for Yellow Stripe Motorsports, and Vincent Cortez going to be on row number 2. Reese Schaefer and Ed Shearer, Tank Racing teammates, on row number 3.
First JW Racing there, Matt Dula starting 7th to his outside. Garrett Motorsports, Brian McAvoy. Lane Hoser in number 9 spot and to his outside in 10th, Brian Johnson. Corey Saucier 11th and Jordan Sailors rounding out our top 12.
Yeah, row number 7, since we have some time before they get going. A few more guys left to grid up out there, actually. Seth Berger, Timothy Latham going to be row 7. Drew Ballesteros and Dave Fuge Jr. in row number 8. Alonzo King and Michael Politis going to be in row number 9, with Joseph Causey and Brandon Domain rounding out your top 10 rows here tonight. So the car is starting to pull off here on the track. I'm going to go ahead and pose the question to you that we always ask here on SRN, Nuke. Who are you picking here tonight?
Oh, man, I had a couple names in mind, and I believe they're starting right next to each other, so that makes that choice even a little bit more difficult. I think I'm going to go with Johan. Practice and everything, he really looked smooth. Was one of the faster guys in practice. So I think I'm going to go with the guy you took last week. I'm going to go with Johan. Okay,
I'm going to go ahead and take that 17 car a few rows back. Reese Schaefer is going to be my pick here tonight. So I think I'm having an issue with my my cameras here as well. I'm having to manually switch them through this whole thing. So we're going to have to probably get to a commercial break whenever we get that first caution here tonight and get that fixed up for everybody. But coming around here to take that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag, the pace car peels off the track and they creep towards that Geico restart zone here tonight. And we are green here at Nashville.
And right away, Brad Herman jumps out, takes that low line, gets a good start. He's going to have a clean sailing off into 1, and then they're going to stack up back behind him. It's going to be interesting. It's a real tight exit out of 2. That walk sneaks up real quick. Those guys on outside are not going to get the run that those guys on the bottom are going to be able to get off coming off that long back straightaway.
Yeah, so drag race down the back straightaway. Brad Herman's going to go ahead and pull out to the lead here. Dalton Tucker going to go ahead, settle in for second. And Johan Seminario there in 3rd as they cross the stripe to complete the first lap. And the first 5 cars are able to get single file as someone's coming out there. I think that was Marty Phillips already going to start the race a lap down.
Yeah, you said a couple guys were struggling there to grid up. And for these top 5 guys, and now trouble even getting onto the track. So, man, I tell you what, he's having just as much trouble as we had to start the broadcast to start his race.
I feel you, Marty. I feel you.
We're feeling you. But for these top 5, 6 drivers here that are starting off, getting out here in single file, that's going to be huge because we talked about it. This track, it eats up tires. It looks a lot wider than it actually is. It almost races like a one-line track for these Cup cars. They just don't want to rotate real well in 1 and 2. 3 and 4, you can get it to rotate, and there's a spot where it wants to really kick out and get loose on you. So for these 5 guys here, they seem to be pretty content right now knowing that they're able to run the line they want to run, save these tires, and nobody seems to be wanting to push or fight, especially these top 3 guys are really starting to break away now.
Yeah, we talked before this race started and just really even mentioned how much of the track, you got to really practice patience here, and a lot of these guys are already showing that, as a few of them are letting some guys go on probably quicker than they would have here. But these guys out in front, not wasting any pace here early on. They're separating themselves from the pack real quick.
So now you start wondering in your mind, are they looking at Brad Herman, Tucker, and Samario? Or is Schaefer, Dula, are they happy just riding back there and say, go ahead, guys, burn up your stuff and see you in 20 laps? Or are these guys just really finding a line and just running that much smoother? We'll know in about 20, 25 laps. We expect with the tire wear to actually see comers and goers in this race.
Big run here for Dalton Tucker as they come back to the stripe here. It's a drag race to lead lap 6, and that one gonna go to Brad Herman. That was lap 5. They're on to lap 6 now. But side-by-side battle, and I think the high line gonna prove to be quicker here early on, but Dalton Tucker not gonna want to stay up there for too long. You could really burn your stuff up like you were saying.
Impressive to see him get that high line to stick this early. It was a little loose up there when I spent some time practicing with the JW team, trying to get a feel of what the car was like. Kind of impressive. I'm surprised to see that outside line being able to fight this long. I'm also a little surprised to see them content to be fighting this long this early.
Yeah, Dalton Tucker is going to want to go ahead and get this wrapped up here as quick as he can, but Brad Herman not going to go ahead and give up the lead by any means here. They're going to go side by side. He's going to try and give him a little side draft, put some air on that rear spoiler, and you see that pay dividends here for the 85 as he gets a little bit of a better run into turn 3, but still nothing given between these two. It's going to be a drag race to the stripe this time again, but Dalton Tucker going to lead this time.
And you can tell that even Johan, I think, is a little bit surprised as he's not sure which guy to follow. He's running kind of his line, but he can't really get up behind or stay behind either one of these guys.
Yeah, so still side by side out of 2, and really these guys still pulling pretty far ahead. I mean, they've got a second and a half on the 4th place car, the 41, Matthew Dula, a few back here, battling Lane Hostler in the 5th position. And I mean, it's a pretty crowded field right behind them. Corey Saucier in the mix, Reese Schaefer there in 7th, and Ed Shearer there in 8th, all well within striking distance of this 41 car. So this pack's starting to tighten up a little bit as they do start to gain some ground on the leaders.
They're sitting there kind of stuck at that second and a half deficit, with Herman now getting the lead back over Tucker and Samario, and we see now possible, I believe, lap traffic already coming into play with one driver who gridded late. Looks like we're going to have early lap traffic to deal with as well.
Marty Phillips going to possibly be going down 2 laps here early on as we see Corey Saucier make a move to the inside of the 61. He's trying to take that 5th place position away from Lane Hostler and is going to do just that.
He had a great run there into 3 and 4, so much that Dula had to really come down and shut the door on him, or he was going to lose a spot to Saucier as well.
So just like that.
Saucier might be, I think Saucier might be thinking, you know what, guys, I understand tire saving, but we need to get up, get a little racy, pull the second line up.
Track position goes a long way here too, so I mean that's nothing to take for granted, as he's quickly going to try and make a move here on the 41 machine as well.
Peek to the inside, but can't stick the nose in, and that's going to make him run just a little bit deeper, I think, into that quarter than he wanted to, and allow Dula to get a little better run off.
So Dula going to stay ahead for now, but the 3 machine not going anywhere for the time being. These guys are still side by side up front though, but they've swapped positions. Brad Herman now on the outside.
Now Herman gets to try to run the outside line and see how much he practiced and can get it to stay. And here's Johan still back here, up, down, left, right, saying, all right, guys, somebody goes somewhere. He's just back here just letting these guys run real hard, and he's not really pushing, not really giving an edge to either guy. He almost looked like he was thinking about taking it 3 wide into 1 for a split second.
I think it's going to pay dividends for him. He's just taking it easy back here while these two are really battling it out for this lead, as Brad Herman almost clears the 93, but Tucker with a great side draft there, not going to allow him to get away, and they still remain side by side.
Yeah, and you can see right now Johan's able to kind of rotate the corner a little bit more. He's keeping his tires cool, not running as hard as these guys are. So I think it's going to pay off dividends in the long run. But what it's doing is it's bringing up that pack now. They were just a second and a half, now falling down to closer to a second. behind. And this second pack, if these guys keep running hard like this, they're going to catch him in no time. And now here comes Johan to second place, and see how eager he's going to be to try to fight for first, knowing that these guys are really burning up their stuff. He looks to the inside, but the door gets closed off by Tucker.
Yeah, Johan making a good look to the inside of Tucker now, and a real contender to take this lead here early on, starting lap 15 here. A dead heat to the line right then. And Johan with the inside track here going into turn 1 has to feel pretty confident about his chances after watching these guys battle for about 10 laps. And just like that, that's well, he's out front. Not surprised for us because we saw that he was at the top of the charts in practice, so he's got some speed out there.
And just like we mentioned, now here comes the second pack. Dula looking at the inside for third. Did Herman and Tucker burn up their stuff early here first run? Because now Dula's catching, taking third. He's got second place Tucker in his sight, and Samar now pulling out to a quarter of a second lead and pulling away from second place Tucker.
Yeah, Herman now back to fourth. So 41 feeling pretty confident right now too. This is going to be a party up here in a hurry, so Johan knows he's got to get out of here because he's not the only one with some fresh tires. This is going to be a heck of a battle here before long.
And you can see the tire wear difference already. Look at Herman and both Tucker. They are running about a half a line higher. They just can't get those state and stay on the bottom as well and get a good drive off like some of these other guys that have now saved. And here comes Saucier around Herman. So Herman's not going to fall to fifth. And just those 10, 15 laps of running hard has cost them 5 positions. We'll see how much more, because here comes a long train of guys. They smell blood in the water, and they're all looking to move around Herman.
Yeah, so 61 next in line to make a move on Herman, but the 12 starting to set sail here, almost out to a half-second lead, but the 41 now clear of any traffic. It has his sights set on that 12 machine out in front. Matthew Dula, last week's pole sitter out Daytona, wants to get back out in front here in Nashville.
And he took them, like we said, about those first 10 laps. That second group just kind of let the first 3 set sail. Figured we'd catch them. I said 20 lap 18, and he's coming onto the bumper first place.
So just 3.5 tenths behind the 12 machine. Dalton Tucker still hanging in there as well in the third place position. Marty Phillips, who was that lap traffic just in front of these guys, looks like he parked it for the night, is going to go ahead and head on home. So the 50 is out of this race. Still, Johan Seminario out in front here, almost to lap 20.
Yeah, and he looks like he's got it on cruise control right now. His smooth lines, good clean exits off. He looks like he just got it dialed in on cruise control right now. Dula right now seems to be content just to kind of follow behind, learn his line, see where he can go. The top 5 now starting to separate just a little bit as Ryan Johnson's moved up to 6, Scherer to 7. Now Ballesteros just passed Herman, so Herman now in 9th, possibly going to fall even out of the top 10 here in just the first 20 laps.
Yeah, Ballesteros is going to be my guest this week here on the SRN broadcast for the Silverback Tax Solution Series race on Thursday in the Xfinity Series cars. So he is going to be up here in the booth right in your seat and calling the Xfinity Series race.
JW teammate, right? So JW going to take over the booth. I like it.
Yeah, so kind of my good buddy Drew. He's a local here in Charlotte with me here, and it's going to be a good time. He's very knowledgeable with those Xfinity Series cars, and they're going to have their hands full at Gateway next week. But right now, he's all the way up to 8th after starting the race here in 15th. So big mover so far, you guys on that. So let's go ahead and see what other battles we got out here. Here's Joseph Causey, last week's winner. He's all the way back here in the 14th position. He led 100 laps here in this race last season. Not the same story looking like so far tonight.
No, and interesting what maybe happened at qualifying, because he was one of the faster guys at practice, but I think he started the 19th, 20th spot, so he has moved his way up, but not as far as he'd probably like, as you can just see the traffic. And we talked about it. Track looks a lot bigger than his big move down on the inside. Can he make it stick? Wow, he drove that thing hard down on the inside. Is he going to be able to get the exit corner speed off? It looks like he is. He is a man on a mission right now.
Yeah, Dave Hughes Jr. there making a big move right in front of him. And now the 23, Well, that's the 69 actually on the scoreboard of Vincent Cortez. That's the guy he's trying to move on by right now. Vincent up on the high line, but Timothy Latham going to make it 3 wide, it looks like, here on the front stretch.
Wow, he thought better of it. Stuck it down there and thought better of it. I think the car got real uneasy and unsettled when he dropped down to that apron. You can go to that apron. You're going to find a little bit of extra speed, maybe cut a little bit of time, but there is a cost. There's tire wear. There's also the car. And also when you dive down like that and you're 3 wide, when you're on the apron, the spotter kind of doesn't recognize the cars around you. So you might not know that there's a car there when you come back up. So it's really, really risky move.
Taking a look back here, the battle for 5th is going to be between Ryan Johnson and Corey Saucier here on lap 25. Ryan Johnson now up 5 positions. A lot of 5s in that last sentence. But now Ryan Johnson up to 5th after getting by Corey Saucier. Looking like Ed Shearer kind of waiting in the wings here to make his move and get on by Corey as well.
Yeah, so you can see we talked about the comers and goers, guys. That saved a little guys that ran hard. We're about what we estimate to be about halfway through a fuel run, but it's going to the tires are going to be just as important on the fuel run. A lot of these guys were eating up some bright tires on long runs, so we'll see number at the 69 they're struggling, getting real high off of corner 2, and he's got some guys looking to pass him now.
Yeah, so that's Mike Mosby. He's going to go a lap down there in the 99 machine, and Ed Shearer going to go ahead and pick up that position and get right back up to where he started the night in 6th place. So let's head back out in front. Johan Seminario with a pretty nice lead here, almost to a second.
Hey, he is just dialed in. He's got that thing on rails. From lap 1 to now lap 27, his line hasn't changed. It's been very impressive to see the speed he's been able to hold on to and just drive away from Dula here. And Dula's your conductor or anything like that. It's kind of...
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at you. Nothing's going right here on the graphics end, and it just put Corey Saucier up as Matthew Dula there, but just turn those photos off. But yeah, it's just been a really good race here, and the comers and goers are really starting to show up. And it's just one of those tracks where it entices you so hard to just really overdrive the car, and I think we're going to start seeing who did just that here as we near lap 30. This is a lot of laps on these tires.
If you're one of the drivers like Herman who burned it up early here and you're falling back, we know it's a 2-stop fuel run. We knew that going in. But with the tire wear, if you're one of these guys that are just falling back, do you start feeling like you got to change your strategy and get tires and try to make this a 3-stop? Are you going to be able to get that lap back? This is going to really shuffle up the field, and we're really going to see strategy come into play here in the next, next 10 to 15 laps. See if you can try to make this a 2-stop. We're going to make this a 3-stop. These guys that were running hard may have anticipated or expected an early caution that didn't come, and now Herman falling back even further. He's getting put 2, now almost 3 wide.
Yeah, Scott Kalal got real tight there, but stayed off the 85. That kind of pushed Brad Herman up a little bit and gave Emerson Ardon an opportunity to make a move to the inside. So now just really starting to pile on as Emerson gets by him. That's going to put Brad back to 24th and just cannot get off of that high and wide. So back out in front of this thing, Johan with a 1.2 second lead, just steady cruising as we near pit stops. We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break and come right back with those green flag pit stops.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker, the future is feeling.
All right, let's go ahead back.
Want to be a part
out
of an
there
established
on
league?
the track as Johan Seminario is still leading this thing here at Nashville Super Speedway, making Yellow Stripe Motorsports very proud here in their debut season here on SRN. So, like we said before we went to break, nearing those green flag cautions as we're on lap number 37. Heard people say they can stretch it as far as lap 48, but you only got to really make it to 40 or 45 to really split this thing into two-stop race. So we're getting really close.
Getting very close, and now we see Ryan Johnson has moved into second place and passing his teammate Dula. So top five now: Johan, Johnson, Dula, Scherzer, and Hosler. Top five. Those five have really been steady here for the past few laps. We said, Yellow Stripe not having the pressure, having the bye week, and Johan said, I'll just drive this thing out to the wind. No pressure. I got this, guys.
Yeah, he's cruising, but Ryan Johnson's starting to run him down a little bit, though, in this 43 machine. He's got some great long run pace, and that gap is shrinking from 12.
It is, and that's what we talked about. Who's going to save? How long are you planning on running? We know Johan ran out. Didn't have to push near as hard for the lead once Herman and Tucker kind of burned their stuff up. But did he push it too hard? How well was Ryan Johnson able to save? That was something he was able to do really well in the trucks. And the way this car got around the track kind of reminded me of the trucks. So, a big brick that didn't want to rotate real well. So maybe that's paying off dividends to Johnson, who's now up in the Cup Series.
Yeah, no surprise to see Ryan Johnson up here battling for the lead of a race after dominating the Truck Series last year, but coming up short of that championship. So that's still looming large over him. He wants to get back here in the SRN and Buttkicker Cup Series of victory lane. But it is that pit window time. 40 laps complete here as we cross the stripe right now.
And Johnson's now cut this down to 0.4 of a lead, really gaining on corner exit speed on Johan. They're both pretty well deep into the corner. You see Johan's car just kind of pushes out on him a little bit more, gets a little tight on corner exit, and that's where Johnson right now is gaining all of his ground, is on corner exit.
Yeah, so that lead now down to 0.3 of a second, and Seminary going to bring it down pit road. He sees that gap shrinking and shrinking. Why not?
And let's see what this does to the field now. He's been the only one to duck off, and here comes a train of cars behind him now. So there are going to be some takers here at lap 42.
Yeah, we got about 5 cars here. Seminario, Tucker, Fuge, Norfleet, and Sailors all coming down pit road. So Ryan Johnson leading that last lap. Going to give him a bonus point here. So put that in the bank. We'll see if he brings it down this time. Looks like he is.
He said, I will take my bonus points right to the pits. And that's a smart move. You don't want to give those 5 cars that pitted a few laps there, because they're going to come out. They're going to be running probably about 2 seconds faster on the track than you are. So even though you'll have the large track position, you do not want to get behind that pit curb window and allow those other 5 cars to be running at those higher speeds. You got to get in and get out and get back on the track.
Yeah, so about 7 or 8 more coming down that time to complete their first stop of the race. So that's going to cycle the lead out to Ed Shearer. He's going to opt to stay out here. So kind of a surprise here. We saw 5 cautions in last season's race. None so far to this point, but a great battle out in front here with Lane Hostler trying to spoil this tank racing party here.
Yeah, now we see a large group, Nickel, some other guys going into the pits there. So it looks like about half the field now has elected to pit, and I'm kind of surprised at how big of a group we have to have pitted and those who haven't. I thought once the leader went, I thought we would see the whole field duck down within the first 3 or 4 laps. But these guys here decided they're going to keep pushing it out there and really try to stretch out to that 50+ fuel window that we were talking about. But when they come back on the track, how far are they going to be back fresher tires? So they're going to have, I think, a lot of ground to gain up on those fresher tires after we cycle these pits.
Yeah, so Ed Shearer still out there on those older tires. Has to feel like a rock out there as he's still staying out there. Lane Hostler working really well. It's just the Toyota train out in front. Looks like Causey is going to bring it down as he locks it up, gets everything he can out of that entry, and bringing the teammates along with him. Schumacher on pit road, Ardon on pit road, as well as Scott Healy, all coming down this time. So that's leaving the 45 machine out in front here. Ed Shearer up 5 positions from where he started, has about a 3.5 second lead over Lane. I think he's coming down.
He's coming down right now, and he's going to come down real hot. Is he going to get it woed up in time? He is. Don't want to happen where we saw Causey lock him up. Did he get everything he could, or did he get a little bit too much? We'll see if there's a penalty there for speeding for Causey. If he really entrenched, he has to go back in and serve a speeding penalty. That cycles the lead now to the 61, who still has yet to pit, I believe. The top 5, I don't believe, have pitted yet.
Yeah, so a final 5 driver from last season. Lane Hostler going to go out and lead a couple laps. Lane had a good run here at last season, finished 5th here at Nashville.
Maybe he's got a different strategy. Maybe he's doing the same thing, the strategy that got him 5th last year, because he's still going to stay out on an island with Seth Berger as well. And Justin Rideout's falling back in here a little bit. How much longer are these guys going to keep it out here? I'm surprised at how long they're staying out on the track.
Yeah, so a lot of new names we're seeing up here. Looks like we got one back here in the 80 machine. Alonzo King out of Phoenix Virtual Racing up to 3rd place. So a good run for that 80 machine. He's going to take the lead over as the top 2 have come down now. Lane Hostler on pit road with Seth Berger just behind him. So cycle the lead out to that 80 machine, a rookie out front.
And here we go. Let's look at the times now. Johan is 24 seconds back from these guys who haven't pit, and you can just see the difference there. The 6th place at that time is just falling back. Johnson obviously pitted in and out very well. He finds himself just 2/10 behind. And let's see how long the King stays out on the track, as well as we saw in Rideout still rolling out on the track as well.
Yeah, this is a very long run. 50th lap now, and we just said we've heard some people saying 48. We've heard some people saying 52. Alonso right in between there. How much longer can he push it, and what is he going for? Is he hoping for a caution at this point, or has he got something on his mind? Maybe kind of.
It's not a bad strategy. If you get a caution, you catch half the field a lap down. You'll have one guy that gets the wave around, and maybe that's what he's going. Nope, he's going to come in right now. He's going to lock him up and bring it on in, and that leaves Justin Rideout now on the track.
Yeah, one of the more deceptive pit entries here, as you're right. Rideout's still out there, yet to pit here. He's going to lead a lap here tonight. Led a few laps at Daytona last week, so pocketing another bonus point in that regard, but you can just see the speed difference here. He's not slowing down, folks.
No, he's not slowing down. He's giving it everything he's got, but Nothing like 4 fresh tires. It's a good feeling for a driver, especially on a track like this that eats him up. You just see he's now going to have about an 8-second lead when he comes to pit. If he pits this time, and he doesn't, he's still going to put a lap. But you see Johan in second, ticking off almost a second, 2 seconds faster a lap.
Yeah, so Johan just in front of Ryan Johnson and Dalton Tucker. Dalton kind of used up his stuff a little bit quicker than the rest of these guys last time. Wondering if he's putting that in the back of his mind and going to go ahead and save that car a little bit more and see if he can maybe get by these two, because like we said earlier, track position very hard to come by here in these cars, especially at a track like this. And we see Justin Rideout getting on pit road, and that's going to cycle around this first round of pit stops.
Yeah, Justin couldn't really stay out much longer, because then you start, those other cars get so close, you're going to be a lap down, lap plus if you don't use that time advantage that you have. And now that puts these 3 guys way out in front. Seminario, Johnson, and Tucker. These guys look happy to just be kind of cruising. And as I say that, Ryan Johnson looked to the inside, and he's going to not stick the nose in there. I thought he was going to drive it in deep. Thinks better of it. These 3 are rolling out around now some 2.5 seconds ahead of 4th place.
Lost Dalton Tucker. There he is. I was looking for him. That's why the camera kind of stood still there, blinking now. So he's probably going to just opt to drive behind these guys for a little bit and wait for that connection to sort itself out. But yeah, very much in the thick of it right now with this battle for the lead. It's a good one here between the 12, 43, and 93.
So the question is, obviously Johan saw what happened to Tucker and Herman when they were fighting for some 8-10 laps for the lead. If Johnson does stick his nose in there and try to go for it, is Johan going to and risk the fate of all the way back, or would he give it to Johnson and live to fight another day? Be interesting to see how hard these guys want to push. Because Johnson is definite. Here he comes to the inside.
Yeah,
Johan putting up a little bit of fight. Nope.
I was going to say,
Johnson
I don't think it's going to be up to Johan here. Ryan's going to go ahead and make the move himself, but Johan with a good run, he's going to try and clear this 43. I don't think he's going to be able to get it, though, by turn 1.
No, they're going to be side by side going into turn 1. Johan with the slight advantage. Johnson with that inside line is going to try to pull even. It's all going to be about the corner exit speed coming out of the backstretch.
And Dalton Tucker in a funny position. He's watching these 2 battle. This is exactly what Johan did last time, and it paid off for that 12. So the 93 going to be sitting here and being patient, waiting for this to sort itself out between these 2 guys.
Yeah, if I Tucker, I saw what happened last time. I'll just be content to run behind these guys. Johnson now going to fall back a little bit and try to tuck back in line. And Matt Dula, they're only able to gain about 2/10 of a second. Still back there. Oh, and Ryan Johnson almost looked like he may have gotten to the wall, or just saved it just from kicking off the wall there on corner exit of 2 there.
Yeah, he almost touched the wall there. Not sure if he made contact with that purple Allied wall there on the backstretch or not with that purple car. But I think it's clean regardless. These cars hold up really well compared to other cars in the NASCAR circuit. So Johan still hanging on to that lead. Don't want to take my eyes off the battle for the lead right now, even though we got other good battles out there, in particular with Corey Sauce here and Drew Ballesteros right now. We'll try and check in on that in a second. But Ryan Johnson really putting the pressure on this 12.
And he is searching all over the track, searching a little higher exit, a little lower exit. He is moving up and down on this track right now, trying to find a way to get by Johan a little smoother and not get locked up side by side. But right now, just can't find it because Johan is just, again, got this thing on the rails going around the track.
Yeah, it's just hard to pass here. And I think a lot has to be said, too, about the fact that Ryan probably doesn't want to push it there on the outside lane. So just kind of riding right now and maybe going to strike for the next round of green flag pit stops. He just wants to have that track position right behind Johan. Maybe he can make up that time on pit road as well, because right now this track or this race seeming like it could go the distance right now with how things are kind of separating out there as we near halfway.
A bad move by Johnson to maybe get some cliff notes for later in the run and see what can my car do, what can my car not do. can almost do is hook Johan there as those guys came close as Johan slammed the door there on Ryan Johnson and forced him to really back out of it. And interesting to see Tucker's been content to fall back a half a second off these guys and just really watch them run them real as hard as they are. He's content to say, you know what, I'm not going to get any pressure anytime soon. I'm going to roll around here and save my tires and see what happens here in the later stages of this long run as this field is really stretched out now. So we got through the first round of green flag pit stops. That's when we tend to see a lot of cautions, guys getting off on and off pit road, locking them up. We're starting to get lap traffic, guys on old tires, guys on new tires. We've gotten through that cycle, you know, incident free. So let's see if we, you know, Tucker might be thinking Mike could do that again. So I'm going to save my stuff for the end of this long run.
Yeah, I'm not seeing too much lap traffic in their way anytime soon, but I think as this race progresses to be green the entire way, they're going to start really stacking up through this field, and that is going to be a real difference maker once we get to the end of this thing to crown ourselves a champion here in Music City 180 here in Nashville. But still got a little bit of ways to wait before that pay window opens up. But right now, nothing changing out in front. Ryan Johnson really proving that he has the pace. Just can't get by the 12. Look at him leaning on the back bumper here.
I just wonder if he's just playing a mental game right now and just sticking that car and it real big in Johan's rearview mirror and just I'm here, lap after lap after lap. That wears on you mentally as a driver. If you're in the lead driver there, you're trying to run your line, but when Brian Johnson's doing what he's doing, entering a little higher, entering a little lower, you're constantly checking that rearview mirror, and is that maybe forcing Johan to drive harder than he really wants to right now to keep this lead and keep the Ryan Johnson behind him, as these two are just really going at it here as we reach the halfway point.
Yeah, so just really stalking the back bumper of Johan Seminario. Let's go ahead quickly check out some other battles happening right now. Ed Shearer making his way back up through the field after staying out as later than a lot of the guys did, but he's got fresher tires, so he's making his way back up here now, up to 7th and trying to get by Joseph Kazi here.
Impressive to see how fast he was able to get through the field. Now he's obviously coming out with some 8 and sometimes in some cases 10 lap fresher tires, but with this lap traffic, and I'll say it again, it seems like a one-line track. I'm wondering here pretty soon as these laps kicking off, really into 3 and 4, you see guys drive it real deep. I think we're going to start seeing some bumpers get laid to some guys here in the next maybe 30 laps as we get closer to the pay window, and guys aren't going to be as forgiving, I should say.
Yeah, Lane Hostler moving on by Randy Nichols. Nichols starting to fall back a little bit after starting the night in 29th. He came in before a lot of these guys did on lap 42, so starting to feel that pressure a little bit. But lap traffic here in the mix now. Rideout, who stayed out later than everybody, starting to get his lap back as the 40 blows on by the leaders here. So he is back on the lead lap, but that could throw you off a little bit when you're out in the lead. You're getting passed by someone that's back at 30 seconds. So both of these guys maintain the track position and continue the battle out in front, and they've separated themselves from Dalton Tucker too. Tucker now a second and a half back of these two.
Well, it also for a little bit of time there throws some dirty air on Johan, which he hasn't had to really deal with for the past 40-something. He's been out front, out in that clean air, that car handling as best as it's going to. Meanwhile, Johnson back there having to fight the dirty air, the car not wanting to rotate as much. It would have been interesting if Justin Rideout didn't exactly pull away as fast, how Johan's car handled in dirty air, because we really haven't seen that too much.
Looked like Brian was going to get a good run there off of 4, but did not get the run and still unable to make up any ground on the 12. So let's go ahead and check in on some other battles happening here. Let's check in on Norfleet going up against Adrian Schumacher here at 56 and the 82. And looking like Adrian with the fresher tires going to pull away there in 15th, defending the season 2 Silverback Tax Solutions Series champion. So he's looking to make up some ground and get up towards the front of this one. Michael Politis here going up against Scott Healy in that 64. This is to round out the top 20. 64 just ahead of him, and then they got Brad Herman in the mix too. Brad started this race in the front and now still in the mid-pack.
Yeah, still trying to fight for that top 20 position. He's got two guys that are looking to make a move on him here real soon. That's the 64 is going to look to dive down into turn 3. I'm sure the 6 will follow, but Herman able to run a little bit higher arc and drive it harder, deeper into the corner in the 64.
Yeah, so Herman gets a good run there. It's going to separate himself from that 64 machine a little bit. Let's head further on back here. For 24th, Blair Holloman holding off the 80 of Alonzo King. We saw that 80 stay out a little bit longer than the rest of the field, so he's trying to make his way back up and pick up a few more spots for his Phoenix Virtual Racing team. And Drew Ballesteros, we watched him earlier. He's starting to make his way back up through the top 10, but really having a tough time with these tank racing cars that are starting to make their way up through the field. Reese Schaefer moving on by.
Always sounds good in theory. Hey, I'll stay out longer than these guys. I'll have better tires on the long run. But, you know, that's a great theory if those cars aren't in front of you in the track. And when they're in front of you, this is a tough track to pass. So even the fresher tires is only going to help out but so much when you're stuck back in these 4, 5, 6 car lines like we're seeing.
Yeah, so not a lot going on in the form of caution flags here tonight, but a great battle for each and every one of you at home watching the Music City 180 live. This thing has not changed one bit, and it's going to come down, like I said, to this last round of green flag pit stops. Granted, we stay green here for the Music City 180, but it's going to be the money-making stop here in a few laps.
And who's going to go win? Last time Johan was able to duck down first as Ryan Johnson tried to beat Johan into the pits by a lap. Is he going to let Johan go first and go the next lap and hope to come out right behind him with the just, you know, slightly one better fresher tires? These guys are just playing a serious game of cat and mouse right now.
Yeah, you love it. That's racing, man. Like I say every week, a mental chess match. It's not all about what's under the hood. It's all about what's in the head as well, and these guys seem to be very smart out here because not only are they fast, but they're maintaining their equipment too and just steadily pulling away from the field. Matthew Tula now gets ahead of Dalton Tucker too. He's moved up into P number 3, so keep an eye on that 41. Maybe he can get up there and make some noise as well.
Yeah, he has shown good long run speed, was able to move up there. He was kind of the first car of that second pack early in the race to be able to catch the leaders and run up, so we know he has good long run speed. But it is impressive how hard the front two are running. They've been able to maintain that 2 second, about a second and a half to 2 second advantage. Dula's going to try to cut that down and get as close as he can to the bumper of these guys, so they might have 3 cars entering the pits at one time.
Looks like Ed Shearer is going to make his move on by Dalton Tucker as well and bring Seth Berger along with him. So 2 tank racing cars moving up into the 4th and 5th position. Dalton Tucker is starting that fall back in through the pack here as he came out in 3rd and now starting to fall back to 6th. Got Lane Hostler right on his heels now. But right now, speaking of right on the heels, Ryan Johnson still right on the back bumper. Let's take a look at Scott Healy. This battle still heating up back here for the 18th position between Politis and Healy. 64 wants to get by this 6, but the 6 put the elbows out right now, making that hard.
Yeah, he's making that car real wide and making it real hard for the 64 to get around him. So you see it, whether it's the front two, every position fighting through here, it is really hard to pass. And these guys are really having to put the bumper right on the back end, try to get the cars loose in front of them, try to move them out of this one line that all these cars are fighting for to go around the track.
Crossing the stripe right there, the 57 of Ardon getting by Robert. You saw that position for 24th. So Emerson Ardon with a good night so far, up 10 positions after his fun weekend out here in Charlotte. Got to meet him and a few of the other tank racing guys at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Roval race this weekend. So he might be a little bit tired out there right now, but he's not showing it. Up 10 positions, wanting to get a few more before this thing wraps up. A good battle here between these 4 guys.
That's the first time we've seen 2 rows side by side fighting here. There's definitely some different action that we've seen all night. And you mentioned meeting some guys at the track and everything. That's the cool thing about the community that SRN's built. I was able to meet a few guys at my first trip to the Indy 500, so it's pretty cool to get out to the track, meet some of these guys, put a face to all these guys you run out here with, and have a good time. And it really speaks to the community that SRN's built.
Yeah, I expect my invite to the Indy 500 to be in the mail the next time it comes by. It's one of my bucket list items, so it's pretty cool that you got to do that. But yeah, always fun to see everybody and get to meet some of the guys out here in the community. Like you said, so Tank Racing had a good time this week, and they're having a good time out there on the track right now as they start to make their run up towards the front. The side-by-side battle right here for the lead now. Ryan Johnson opting to use that high lane now as these tires are really starting to wear off.
Johnson on the high line trying to get it to stick. Oh, that was real close as Johan got tight coming off the corner. They're going to enter here still side by side. And now reaching lap 82, who's going to duck off first and when? Because right now it's these guys side by side still running hard.
Yeah, we didn't see it, but I'm wondering if this lap car played a role in this. Skip Gandy, who's just behind these leaders, he came out on lap 74, so he's got the fresher tires, just waiting to get by these 2. But Ryan Johnson going to go ahead and forego this battle for now, and maybe going to set him up a different way, maybe try to use the inside lane.
And look out now, here comes a name we haven't really talked about a lot tonight, but Seth Berger now is in 3rd as he has gotten past Dula. He brought Sure along with him, and these guys are cutting down the time pretty quick. Let's see if Seth wants to get up here and mix this up. He is flying right now.
Yeah, we saw what happened last time when this happened to Johan Seminario. He immediately came down pit road once Ryan Johnson got right to his bumper. Paid off for him as he maintained the lead. I mean, this 12 has been in full control of this race all night long, and he's going to do the same thing here.
Here he goes. He'll be the first one to drop down. Nobody in the top 5 is going with him. So he'll have teammates Dula and Johnson. I imagine the first, second place and fourth place car, first and fourth place are on the track now, may jump off together. But what is Berger and Sure going to do? Are they going to go around another lap? Johnson last time came the exact, the first time he was able to pit after Johan. See if that's going to be the same strategy this time. As he comes down, looks like he possibly won't end. Yep, he's going to come in and pit. Is he going to bring his teammate Matt Dula with him? No, his teammate stays out. And it looks like Johnson enters the pit now.
I will be completely honest. This is a bold strategy by a lot of our leaders, I feel like. I mean, this is really stretching out an entire run. I'm curious to know how this pays off for them, knowing that they are going to be on the wits' end of their tires here. If these Tank Racing guys opt to stay out a little bit longer, we saw the ground that they were making up on about 7 laps difference. They stayed out for quite a while that last round. This could be a race-winning strategy if Tank Racing stays out a few more laps.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them stay out maybe about 5 more laps, get closer to that 40 gap window than that max 52 that we were talking about. Somewhere just around 50, maybe just a little north of 50 is the fuel window. But the tires were the real big concern. So your 2 leaders there, Johnson and Johan, said they decided to pit at the max fuel and get it to the end. And these tank guys said, well, we're going to push it a little bit closer, make it more of a 40-lap run where they're going to hopefully have the speed to catch up at the end. And here's where the cautions really start getting a little edgy. You see guys with new tires come flying around guys on old tires, guys going to the pits. This is going to be a real interesting next 7 to 8 laps here. It can really change up.
Yeah, you saw Thomas Toomey get into Seth Berger, kind of moving the leader out of the way of the race here, but 3 wide action. This makes you nervous as the leader. As you see, it's just so easy for these guys to go on by. Corey Saucier going to go ahead and unlap himself, but I think they got another lap in them before they opt to come down and make this first stop here, or this final stop, excuse me. But a side-by-side battle for the lead between teammates.
And these guys are not. These guys are unlapping themselves. Are not making it easy. They are cutting the nose off, coming down. They are not giving these guys an inch, trying to slow them down as much as they can as they go by them. What do you think? Maybe 2-3 more laps. These guys have got to come in.
Yeah, you see Matthew Dula right behind them too. That he's still on the same tire cycle as well. He's starting to really make up some ground on those two as they were racing side by side. And got a blank out there by Seth Berger real quick, comes right back onto the track. But we've only got about 7-8 more drivers out there that have yet to make their final stop.
It's going to be real interesting. Cycle back onto the track. I anticipate they'll probably be, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds off the lead or so. Are they going to be able to fight down? And Dula says, enough's enough. I'm coming in right now. I need new tires.
Yeah, it looked like he got a good entry too to really make up some time. We'll see how the 41 cycles out here once everything gets sorted out here under potentially this final green flag pit stop of the night, as Ed Shearer continues to lead the way in that 45 GameStop Toyota Camry. Johan Seminario going to get his lap back here, but not doing it the easy way. Goes right on by the 45 here on lap number 90. So these two still staying out here. The bet is made. Let's go see if it works.
It is absolutely made at this point, as you know, Johan's able to come around and unlap himself. Now Ryan Johnson's able to come unlap himself. So these guys are now going to be in danger of not cycling some seconds behind, but maybe now a lap behind when they get back on the track and have to make up that lap as well.
Yeah, so they are still not coming out.
What do they know that we don't? This is going to be real interesting to see come down to the end here.
Yeah, they are sticking to it and making it work so far, as these guys are just eating them up. Johan Seminario just went on by a few laps ago. Has just set sail here. He is completely on a different part of the track now. That is the difference in time, as we see a few other guys starting to come out. Vincent Cortez, he's made his final stop. Here comes Ed Shearer. Seth Berger still staying out.
Interesting that wasn't a team call and they came down separate.
Ray Schaefer came down too. So
yeah, I wonder if somebody missed the signal to pit or what. But that's interesting. They all didn't come down together.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and stay off of the 77 for the time being with the blinking. Not very friendly with our cameras, but yeah, he is opting to stay out there on the track right now. Alonzo King's still out there too. He is going to be our number 2 driver at the moment. He's got plenty of fuel left in the tank as he stayed out for quite a while. You saw Blair Holloman just blow right on by, though. It is quite a difference in speed right now between these old tires.
And here we are with the same 5 drivers, Berger, King, Besaw, Rideout, all stayed out, and they're staying out just as long as they did last time, really pushing it, but that's allowing both Johan and Ryan Johnson to catch back up now as they run 5th and 6th on the track with the 4 cars in front of them yet to pit.
And the 20 of Brandon Domain coming on down pit road here, the Sandwich Man Racing Sports Memorabilia number 20, making his final stop of the night. He's having a good run so far here. Seth Berger, our leader, going to come down pit road. That's going to cycle the lead out to Alonzo King, and he's going to lead another couple laps before making his final stop of the night.
And we see Berger now getting pit. Besaw and King the only ones out on the track. I believe Rideout has yet to pit. And what are these two going to do? Are they going to try to pit before Johan comes around them, or are they going to do what they did last time, and the moment Johan gets around them, that's when they decide to duck down and pit?
Riding on board here, you can see they're shifting gears here at Nashville, not just riding around and fit the whole time. And you can see that lap, or that that traffic that's already pitted, just blow right on by you. It makes you feel like you're sitting still. Makes me think of Talladega Nights where Ricky Bobby goes, is that the other cars?
Yeah, exactly. That's a bad feeling when you know that you're already on ice. It's not going where you want it to go, and these guys are just right on your door. And probably a smart move by King to say, you know what, enough's enough. I'm either going to end up in a wreck or something if I try to fight too hard here.
Yeah, it just doesn't work out. I know he was probably hoping to get that strategy where the yellow comes out and get that track position. Doesn't work out for him this time, and that's going to cycle the lead out to the 12 of Johan Seminario, still nose to tail with that 43 of Ryan Johnson.
We're now on chapter 3 of the same story of Johan just on a rail leading this race. And for the past 2 chapters, though, it's been Ryan Johnson right there with him, not giving him an inch, just waiting for that one little slip up. But Johan has been a cool driver out there, keeping his calm, keeping this thing out front.
Yeah, it really says a lot about this 12, and I think it puts the league on notice. He is unrattled by this 43, with the winningest driver in SRN history just over the course of one season, and not shaking in his boots whatsoever. He's going to work on this lap car of Dave Fuchs Jr. already a lap down here, 2 laps down actually. That's going to put Dave 3 laps down once they get on by him. But yeah, so he's got some difficulties here as Emerson Ardon just behind him wants to unlap himself too. So we got a slower car out in front, a faster car behind, and one of the best here in SRN trying to beat you here for the lead.
And what does Ryan Johnson do? Is he going to try to use this as a pick window? And actually, he's going to be the one that's going to get picked. He's got the slower car to the outside, the faster car to his inside. Johan able to clear the slower traffic up top, and now that's going to pinch Ryan Johnson kind of in a box, behind there. So he's not going to be able at this time to use lap traffic to his advantage. It's actually a disadvantage to him this time.
Yeah, that separated them up quite a bit, put about 2 or 3 car lengths between the 12 and the 43, and just wanting to keep the 57 right there too. The 12 not really giving him much room. He's just blocked him there on the outside, making it hard for a lap car to even pass. He wants to keep this pick.
Yeah, that is a racer of true heart right there. You're leading the race, you're controlling the race the whole time, and you know what? I'm going to keep you a lap down just as I can. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's still really, he's going to only do so much there. As Emerson really putting the air on the rear spoiler, the side draft going to work for the 57, and that almost opened up a window there for the 43 to get the nose to the inside.
The window was cracked, but it closed real quick as Ryan Johnson tried to bust through it and thought better of it and was able to keep the nose off of Johan. And these two are just riding out back to that normal, 2.5 second lead that they were able to get after the last pit stops. And going back to King and some of the other drivers that stayed out real late, be saying, oh, well, that was a race, losing moves, and now we're going to go pick this time back up for this next, 33 laps. Yes and no. If you see a guy like Johan and Ryan Johnson out here just wheeling around this track, do the same thing they do, it's going to be the same results. When you got 2 drivers like this out here dominating the field, you've got to try to do something different, put yourself in a better position. So just ride around here and pit like they do, you're just going to be stuck in the same position the whole time around the track.
Yeah, so as these 2 battle side by side, Lane Hostler up to 3rd place now after that round of pit stops. So the 61 quietly making his way up through the field here tonight. He's up 6 positions from where he started in 9th. Like I said, had a 5th place run here last year in Nashville. Looking like he might come away with a podium run here tonight. So keep your eye on that 61. If he can make a run up here to the front, has a little bit fresher tires than our leaders. We'll see if he can make some noise.
And that's a perfect example. We saw Hostler earlier in the race, kind of on about a 7-8 lap different pit strategy. It's worked to his advantage. He's got himself up to 3rd. Looking through the field, we know Causey's got good long run speed. Dula, Latham, Nichols, we've all seen those guys with good long run speed. They've got a lot of time to make up, not a lot of laps to do it. Let's see if anybody can get up there and make this more than a 2-car race that it's been for the majority of this race. It's a good race. These guys are putting on a show. See if anybody else can get up here and join in on the fun.
Yeah, just an update on Seth Berger. He's finding himself 11.5 seconds behind now. I'm not sure that strategy was the one to go with now. Hindsight's 20/20, but that is a lot of time to catch up here in Nashville. You can really burn your stuff up quick when trying to close a gap like that.
Right, and at this point in time, we're long enough into the run that I would imagine if a caution comes out, everybody's coming for tires, so it's not like you're going to be able to stay out there and gain in the track position that way. So he's in a real tough bind now to try to make up all that ground.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to catch up and really getting some passes. Looking like they're making up some good time. Ed Shearer back there in 9th place as well. He is working on Timothy Latham and Corey Saucier. Gets by the 3 right there. He's going to go on by the Latham machine too. and move that 45 on up to 7th. He's 6.5 seconds back. He's got a little bit of a better outlook, I feel like, when it comes down to the end of this race.
Looks real good after that strong move, getting a 2 for 1 there in that one corner. So we know he's got speed, and also here comes that 61. I think he's clicked off some 2/10 the last lap or two. So I think we're going to have at least a 3-car race here pretty soon. And then once those 3 cars start mixing it up, that's going to bring the 93, the 41, the 88, I think, all into the picture as well.
So nothing changing out in front here. Seminario still with a 1-car gap between him and this 43 machine of Ryan Johnson out of JW Racing's new Cup Series team. They want to get their first win on the season here, going up against Tank Racing too. And seeing how Tank Racing's night's gone so far, they know that they need a good run. So far, JW Racing going to consist of 2nd place Ryan Johnson, 5th place Matthew Dula, and 9th place Randy Nichols. And Tank Racing going to go ahead and consist of 6th place Ed Shearer, 7th place Joseph Kazi, and currently 12th place Seth Berger. It's going to be a really tight battle all the way to the end.
And while you were mentioning that, it looked like Ryan Johnson may have gotten in the wall there on corner exit. He dropped back, and I think he just tagged the wall. Let's see what that's going to do for his long run speed as he bounced off the wall there just a little bit. He's gotten it straightened out, but he is falling back now, and he's got pressure from the 61.
Yeah, the 61 just comes out of nowhere, making his presence felt on these guys. It just felt like a couple seconds ago he was 2 seconds back. Now the 61 knocking on the door here. A 2nd place car, 43 of Ryan Johnson. Damage not looking too bad on the side of Ryan Johnson's JW Racing Camaro, but the 61, he doesn't care if he's got damage or not. He's got better tires, and he takes a look to the inside.
I think he might make quick work here, Ryan Johnson. No, Johnson's going to fight hard coming on the outside, but he's going to have the corner speed as he approaches that outside wall. That outside wall comes up real quick on that corner entry.
It really
both
does.
Out of 4 and that both out of 2, really. It feels like you got room, and all of a sudden it's there.
Yeah, it sneaks up on you in a hurry. And speaking of sneaking up on you in a hurry, Ed Shearer is sneaking up on these guys in specific. He's only 2.5 seconds back of this 2nd place battle. And Skip Gandy trying to make his way through here too. That's not going to help these guys out.
It's not very often you see lap traffic come into play, but they're going the opposite direction of the leaders.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often.
We're seeing it tonight here for the Music City 180. Wow, Gandy almost gets into Ryan Johnson there, who's got a battle with Johan Seminario just in front of him. That 12 is the leader right now. So 14's got to be really careful here. Oh, and he almost gets into Johnson.
Gets all the way down the apron, almost gets into Johan.
Really
really
moment.
Aggressive. Really aggressive.
Real dicey moments for our leaders, too. And especially considering that Gandy 2 laps down, not going to be favorable in the eyes of the admins, I feel like. Yeah.
Not favorable in the eyes of his fellow competitors out there. 2 laps down, I get it. You're trying to get back to that fight for that lap, maybe, and get back other cars a lap down and be in the lucky dog position. But man, you get guys fighting for the lead here with sub 25, 23 laps to go here, and you're in there mixing it up that hard. You are not making any friends, I can promise you.
Yeah. All right. Well, he gets on by, and the lead kind of settles down for the time being. Alonzo King being a little more patient in the process. He's one of those drivers as well with fresher tires, trying to get his lap back after staying out a little bit longer than the rest of these guys. So as much as Johnson doesn't want to let him go, the 80 gets on by here, and now just hopes that he can maybe maintain his ground here. Johan almost gets into the wall. This is going to give the 43 a run here.
I'm going to just the 43, but the 61 as well. We're going to be 3 wide now entering turn 1.
Wow, Lane Hostler, power move to the inside, goes right on by the 43. Thought that was going to be his, and he's still in 2nd place after that. But now they're side by side going down into turn 3.
Better corner exit coming off that corner for Ryan Johnson. He's going to fight hard on the outside. Now, it's interesting here coming off of 3 and 4. There is a little bump on the inside. You see Hosler hit it. it kind of upsets the car, and he has to get out of the throttle just enough to allow Ryan Johnson by, and now Johan's going to dive to the inside, and he's going to try to fight back.
Well, Ed Shearer's in the party now, too. The 45 shows up and wants to get in on the mix as Jordan Saylor's a lap down car, and the 55 doesn't know where to go here, but Ryan Johnson gets the lead here and tries to get out as far away as he can. He knows that this 45 has this race won if he can get by these guys.
I'm telling you, if you see those guys fighting back there, you forget saving tires those last 20 laps. You see guys 3 wide back there. You want to make as much hay as you can right now if you're Ryan Johnson, because these guys back here, they are in a hornet's nest back here with lap cars, fighting for position. This is going to get real interesting.
Ed Shearer gets the spot for P2, now sets his sights on Ryan Johnson. One more pass to make, and the 45 will execute that strategy of staying out 8 laps longer perfectly. But Ryan Johnson not going to give it up here with 18 more circuits around this Nashville Super Speedway.
18's an awful lot to keep your tires behind you. How will Ryan Johnson make this car? And as we said, now Joseph Causey is the 5th place car. He's moving up to that 2-second mark. And we've seen once these guys start getting side by side, it's going to bunch these guys up. And it took a 1 lap for Scherzer to put that car right on the bumper. Ryan Johnson, he's got a slower car on the outside, kind of slowing down his corner exit and where he wants to go. He's going to have a guy looking to pass him for position on the inside, and a guy trying to get a lap back on the outside.
Yeah, I think Shearer understands the assignment here. He knows that he can be far more patient, but man, you got to be real careful with moves like that. He almost got to the rear bumper of the 43 with the run that he got off of 2. That could have ended both of their days right there. And the 45 makes it easy, goes right on by, and is more than likely going to set sail here on this lead.
Great patience there, so much right. He knows he's in the catbird seat at that point. He's got a wounded duck sitting in front of him there, Ryan Johnson. He knows he's going to be faster these last 16 laps. Take your time, pick your spot, know what the traffic's doing around you, and work your way through this field. And he's done a great job, and execute that pit strategy perfect. These guys got real racy up front just like he needed, and it probably happened a few laps earlier than he even thought it would.
So that is Thomas Toomey going a lap down now. That's going to leave 22 cars on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap going to be Emerson Ardon in 22nd. The 36-car field here tonight, led by this 45 of Ed Shearer. So making GameStop real happy tonight if he can maintain this position. Starting to set sail here, almost to 0.4 of a second lead over Ryan Johnson. But this is Seth Berger update on the 77 Flood Brothers machine on his move back to the front. He was a little bit further back than Ed Shearer, up to 6th now, and sitting about 2 seconds back of his Tank Racing teammate. So not a bad run there, but I think it's going to be hard pressed for him to make any moves on the 45. We'll see if he can get up here on the podium.
I don't think maybe up to the 45, but I'm definitely thinking he's going to be able to compete for absolutely a top 5 team, get the podium for the top 3, because we know Johnson and Johan, they're 2nd and 3rd. They're on much older tires than Berger. It's going to be how fast can he get past Causey and try to get himself up here into the top 3.
Yeah, so good run for Tank Racing so far here tonight. We'll see if they can make it just a little bit better. It looks like Seth Berger going to make the move here on his Tank Racing teammate. Going to the inside of the 88 of Joseph Causey. Rob Beesall there in the 28 lap car. There, he's getting out of the way. Corey Saucier also 1 lap down. He's your first car 1 lap down, though. Corey Saucier there in 24th. So back out in front, though, Ed Shearer is going to be way to a nice little lead now, up to 7/10 of a second.
He's going to be on cruise control. He's thinking to himself, okay, no yellow. No yellow. This thing is mine. Everybody, mind your P's and Q's back there. Lap traffic, please play nice. And he's thinking, I'm just on cruise control at this point. That is a good position to be in with 12 laps to go.
Yeah, that is a very good position. Seth Berger quickly now up to 4th. He's going to try and make his way up to Lane Hostler. That's the next car in line here, that blue and orange car, about 2nd ahead of that 77. So I think that Seth Berger very much has a realistic possibility of making it on the podium. Can he catch his teammate, though, with 11 laps to go?
Now, the problem is there's a lot of lap traffic in between there as well, so it's not just 4 cars he's got to get around. Looks like he's got to get around some 6-7 cars, and meanwhile his teammate there is out there in clean air, gaining out to now a second lead of Ryan Johnson. And if I measure ahead of this lap traffic, I'm wondering how much he's even going to push to even get up to that lap traffic. Is he content just kind of ride right here, knowing that Johnson and Hassler aren't going to catch him, and nobody's really going to be a threat unless Berger can get around and those two, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that in the next 10 laps.
Coming to the stripe to take 9 laps to go in this one. Your top 10 going to be Shearer, Johnson, Hassler, Causey, Berger, Matthew Dula, Dalton Tucker, Reese Schaefer, Johan Seminario, and Randy Nichols. Nichols with a great night, up 19 positions. He's our biggest hard charger of the race so far. So a great debut for him so far this season. We'll see if he can make up a few more spots. But right now, the smooth sailing for this 45. Knows he's got the best tires out here on the track besides his Tank Racing teammate there. In fifth place as Causey got back around Seth Berger, it looks like.
Yeah, so these guys are back to fighting. That's going to just, help Shearer's cause. He knows he's still, pretty much got this thing locked up. It's a matter of who's going to get this 4th and 5th spot between Berger and Causey. They are fighting hard.
Yeah, surprised to see these two battling as hard as they are. As Causey with 6-lap older tires here. Seth Berger having trouble getting on by him. So the 88 now holds 4th. Berger there in 5th. So
I'm wondering if Seth had his stuff fighting back to the field so hard to where now he's kind of I think he's kind of equaled out and is now back on the same tire wear that everybody else is, as he really, I'm sure, had to push hard fighting up the field as fast as he was. He's may have plateaued and leveled off now.
Yeah, it's a very real possibility here. Ryan Johnson, he's got a battle on his hands here for this runner-up spot. Lane Hassler wants to take P number 2, improve his position from last season's race where he came home in 5th here at Nashville. Why not take a runner-up position for this 61 and kick off a great season here on the season 4? So Lane is going to try and get by Ryan Johnson. This is their first time battling with each other here in the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series, but 2 of the best competitors here in Speed Racing Network as a whole.
Oh, so Ryan Johnson battling with a Lane late in the round. Probably heard of that before.
Yeah, it's funny how things work out here in the racing world. But yeah, he is going to be holding on for 5 more laps to hold on to that P2 position. Lane with a good run right here. Not going to make anything of it.
A big run to the back bumper, and he actually, I think, overdrove that corner a little bit. As you see Ryan be able to get a little bit, open up that gap a little bit on corner exit. Lane may be pushing it a little bit too hard. This is one of those tracks, and the way these cars handle, sometimes slower is faster, and you can try to overdrive it, and then you're actually losing time. But he's able to get a big run off of 4 there coming to the stripe. That's where he's faster. It seems like Ryan's faster in 1 and 2, but Lane's faster in 3 and 4, and he's going to try to make it stick to the outside and get it done in 1 and 2. Ryan Johnson will be able to hold him off. They'll go single file down the backstretch, but right here, this is where Lane's faster. So I think he's going to be content to have that gap to deal with, because he is faster coming into 3 and then out here out of 4 is where he's really making his gains on him. So I think he's going to be right onto that back bumper. Didn't get quite the run he has the last couple laps that time. So that gap's almost even as it going out into 1.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can hang on here. Back out in front, though, Ed Shearer smooth sailing. It's kind of maintained that gap around 1 second, and it might be like exactly what you said. Maybe just opting to not really battle with the lap traffic right now, and might not be a bad strategy.
Yeah, if I'm him, I'm perfectly content to sit behind this 55. I'm sure he's got teammates or spotters telling him what's going on behind him. He has a lap car traffic in between them. We'll put now 2 lap cars between him and 2nd and 3rd, and you're just watching that relative. You know what the times are. It's not moving. You've got lap traffic between you. There is no reason, if you're sure to really push this thing right now, that you're going to see that gap really widen as those 2 cars behind him fight, and now they'll have those 2 lap cars to deal with.
So one more set of turns before he sees the white flag waving here in Nashville and make it start to finish under green. That white flag's waving. 1 lap to go. Next flag ends it.
And this is going to be a real smooth, easy lap red. He down into one here, smooth, no traffic, nothing to deal with. So he's going to, that's a great feeling. I'm just going to go into this corner, keep it smooth, keep it going around, and he'll have the victory for sure.
So gets into turn number 3, rolling through turn number 4. It's going to be real easy on that gas pedal. Sees the checker flag waving, crosses the stripe, and Ed Sheeran is a winner here in season 4, race number 2 in Nashville. So congratulations to him and Tank Racing on a great run here tonight.
Great run by Tank. They showed great speed, and not only great speed, but great strategy as well. Making that pit stop when they did, they were able to catch the field. A real strong night, both in strategy and execution for Tank Racing.
So get some congratulatory bumps here as the rest of the field finishes out this race here. A hard-fought battle for Ed Sheeran here tonight. But, man, he hit the strategy right on the head and executed it perfectly. And that's sometimes what it takes here to be a winner. It's not the fastest car on the track. It's executing every little thing, and he did just that here tonight.
That's a perfect example where we saw 2 cars with Johan and Ryan Johnson really dominating most of this race. But then it came down to who made the right pit call and who was going to have the fastest car at the end of the race. Didn't really matter there in the middle. These guys showed what pressure tires can do, and what timing that run did was perfect.
So as he is burning it down here on the front straightaway, he is going to be having a good old time. He's got a little bit left there, and the engine has yet to blow it up. But man, Ed has been one of the toughest competitors here in Speed Racing Network for a while, so not surprising to see him up here. Didn't have the playoffs that he wanted last season, but comes back strong here tonight, and he is going to be soaking it up here for a little bit on the front stretch.
And he deserves it. That's a big win, and a great run by the entire field to go wire to wire here. Green flag on this track with this car. That was a very impressive job by the entire field tonight.
So it looks like he is going to pack it in for the time being. Let's go ahead and check out the results from tonight's race here for race number 2 in the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series here at Nashville Super Speedway. Ed Sheeran comes out on top. Ryan Johnson there in second. He hangs on. Lane Hostler comes home P number 3. Joseph Causey rounds out your top 4. Seth Berger and then finishes in the top 5.
6 through 10, Reese Schaefer, Matt Dula, Dalton Tucker, Drew Ballesterios, and Brian McAvoy.
And then 11th going to go to Timothy Latham. Johan Seminario comes home 12th. That's got to be disappointing after the run that he had here this evening. Adrian Schumacher in 13th. Robert Norfleet in 14th. And Brad Herman in 15th.
Michael Poltis, Vincent Cortez, and Alonzo King round out your top 18.
So that's a look at your finishing order here tonight as Ed Sheeran slowly pulls on to victory lane. Let's go ahead and see if we can round up a few of these guys. Bring Lane Hostler up here into the booth to pick his brain a little bit after that race. Lane Hostler. Looks like he is there. There he is, Lane Hostler. Let's bring you up here into the booth. Greg Olenek and Nick Halda here. Congratulations on your P3 run here tonight. Tell us about that race.
Man, I gotta say that was wild. I don't think that I've ever been this sweaty after a race. Maybe a dirt bike race, but not an iRacing race. So that's new. It was a lot of fun though.
There were definitely a lot of white knuckle moments out there. You know, I mentioned to Greg, it's not very often, it's not uncommon to see lap traffic get involved at the end of the race. However, it is uncommon when they're going the opposite direction of the leaders, and some of those guys trying to lap themselves were rather racy and rather gutsy to do some of the stuff they were doing with you guys all fighting up front.
Yeah, I will say there was a few moments that I kind of saw those guys coming and backed out a little bit early just to play it a little safe. I definitely didn't want to be the guy that either took out a lap car or got taken out by a lap car or wasn't paying attention and ran into somebody. I just wanted to kind of finish that out and see where we ended up.
You found yourself in a kind of a interesting position through most of the race where we saw through the first stint 2 leaders run really hard the first 12, 15 laps, and then they fell back. Same thing happened in the second stint, and you found yourself kind of just watching those leaders. Talk about that a little bit when you see these 2 guys running real hard in front of you, and you know that this track will just eat tires up.
So I will 100% say that I will probably never be the fastest person at a track in this league or in mini leagues. I kind of pride myself on being able to save tires. Kind of early in that run, I really just wanted to settle into a groove and see how things played out. I like to wait and see how things will go.
That's a smart move. I myself am the same driving style, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, Lane, before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, I got to thank Bobby Anderson Racing and Byron McDonald. He kind of talked me into running this. I was leaning toward not, and then he made it seem fun again, I guess. And then real quick thanks to my parents are watching. I think my dad was driving to a dirt bike race in California like right now, so I don't know if he's watching. I hope so. And I would like to say good luck to him as he goes to race next weekend.
Well, congratulations once again, Lane. Very excited to see you come back here for season 4. Had a great run in your quest for the championship last season. We'll see if you can make another run at it again here this year, man. So best of luck next week when you guys get on out to Twin Ranks. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Lane Hostler coming home NP number 3. Let's go ahead and bring up Ryan Johnson. Ryan, congratulations on your runner-up finish here tonight. I know you wanted one more position, but, man, really making your presence felt here in this Cup Series. After moving up from the Truck Series, tell us about your race here tonight.
Oh, man. That was an interesting one. I didn't know what to expect. I feel like we haven't qualified where I've wanted to, but shown we have speed here and there. Seemed like the longer runs were definitely our benefit tonight, but the pitch strategy that some of them other guys had were just a bit better. Congrats to Edward. It was fun racing with Johan there for a long time. Lane at the end there, I think he had a better pitch strategy or something too. Maybe just saved better. I don't know much about these cars, so this is all kind of a learning experience still. But yeah, it was a good run. I didn't think we'd be in contention for the win in, well, both of our first starts really, but just had no help at Daytona. But yeah, man, we had some practice, did good. I think we just need to get a little more for future races here.
Yeah, I mean, some of those other guys that you're talking about did a little bit further back and had a little bit different strategy, but you were stuck in that cat and mouse, probably 60-lap battle in the middle of the race there with Johan. Talk about that a little bit. We weren't sure if you were really trying to make a pass or if you were really just playing in his mirror the whole time.
Once I caught him on that first run, I was just kind of cruising, and it was almost time for pit stops, and he had pit. So I come down a lap later, and the second run, I don't know if he was trying to do it, but I was definitely using my stuff up trying to get around him because I felt like if I got around him, I would be able to put a little distance between us. But I just used my stuff up. And then that third run, I learned from my mistakes, and it was just kind of riding around for a long time. And fortunately enough, the opportunity presented itself, but at that point, I think me, him, and Lane all went into turn 1 3 wide, and that wasn't going to work out very well. But got around him and then able to hold on to first for, I don't know, like 2 laps or something. And then Ed came up and he got around us, and the rest is history.
Yeah, it's a bad feeling when you got a guy under fresh tires working that fast. So you can only hold him off for so long. Probably did the right thing, letting him by, and then you're able to keep just enough there to keep in second place. Great run.
Yeah, thanks. I think we started catching him there right at the end, but it's not enough laps in that sense. But yeah, we were just fortunate enough to have enough to hold Lane off there. It was a fun race. It was a good battle. Huge learning experience. Way different than the trucks, I'll tell you that.
Before we let you go, Ryan, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, of course. Everybody at JW Racing, our owner Justin, my teammates, you guys at the league for broadcasting, all the admins that put it on, everybody tuning in and watching, my family, my friends, my parents, hopefully they're watching. Had a good run. My sponsors, JW Racing, DCD, Tiny Horse Racing, and Rogue Energy. I think that's it. Hopefully I got everybody.
All right, man. Well, best of luck next week when you guys get out and tackle Twin Rings, and congratulations once again on the runner-up here tonight.
Thanks, guys. Hopefully we can only get better from here.
All right, man. Take it easy.
You too.
All right, Nick, that was your teammate Ryan Johnson, the runner-up here tonight for JW Racing. Let's go ahead and bring this man on up to the booth and get Ed Shearer up here. Ed, congratulations, parking it in victory lane here for their first win here in Season 4. It seemed like patience paid off. Was this the strategy the whole night to just really stretch out these runs and catch them on the back end?
Yeah, it definitely played a role into it. I really thought about last year's race a little bit to where we had the cautions a little bit, and I was thinking I really needed to work on my middle run pace because I felt like I struggled in the middle of the run entirely, especially here at Nashville. We have really great short run speed too, which I was able to take the fresh tire advantage against some of those guys who pitted early, and I have a feeling that they were short on fuel just a tad bit, so I think they had to save a little bit, and where I could just run harder than them. So I just tried to make as much ground as I could, and luckily it paid out for me with the traffic and getting around those leaders in the end, and yeah, here we are.
Were you surprised at how fast you caught those guys? When you guys made your pit cycle there, I was thinking, okay, we might see these guys, reach back up with maybe 5-7 laps, but you caught them with like some 15 laps left. Were you surprised at how fast you were able to catch up to them?
Yeah, Nick, definitely. I had a feeling I was gonna get close to a top 5, if anything. I just didn't know what kind of pace I had in the end entirely, though. It was interesting to see at least how far I was able to get up to the top 3 too. So, but those guys were battling hard once I caught up to them, and luckily I was able to pick whichever lane that they weren't really running. I know I forced it a little bit 3 wide on them in the turn 1 and gained that easy for second, but once I felt like I had a good run on Ryan in the end, I can either go to wherever lane that he doesn't go, and I was able to get around him on the top and just set sail from there.
Yeah, you definitely showed a lot of patience there, knowing that you had much fresher tires, running a lot faster lap times. That was a great display of patience on your part.
Yes, sir. It was.
Well, Ed, before we wrap things up for tonight and send you on back down to celebrate with Tank Racing, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, I just want to shout out everybody that watches SRN on a weekly basis. I know the support means a lot, and I want to thank you guys in the booth for doing the race entirely. I know it's a little different this year with Nick up here. Nick, you're doing a great job for the first 2 races, man. Don't let the nerves get to you. But yeah, I just want to shout out all of our Tank Racing sponsors: $100 Anesthesia Associates, Healthcare Billing, 213 Simware, Invader Zim Designs, RJ Bishop Designs, who designed my car, Burgart's Designs. I want to shout out GameStop for allowing me to run them for the full time this year. A little showing off the NBA 2K. So if you haven't got this year's NBA 2K, make sure to go out there and get it at your local GameStop. I want to thank Take Racing as a whole, all my teammates who helped me get better at week in and week out. And just everybody from the top of the list that makes this happen. I know we have a lot of people that put this work in, and we were able to put this great show on. So I hope everybody enjoyed this race tonight at Nashville. I know it's not usual now having a caution, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, we enjoyed it too, man. Green flag the whole time. That's never a bad thing for us. We get to go home a little early and hang out with our significant others downstairs. I know Carlene will be excited. But Ed, congratulations, man, getting that first win out of the way. And if I remember correctly, you didn't have a bad time out of Twin Rings last year either.
No, I'm looking to go back to back there. I'm definitely getting myself mentally ready for that one. I'm excited to go back though.
All right, man. Well, best of luck next week when we get on out there, and have fun celebrating, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it, boys.
All right, so Ed Shearer, your winner here tonight. Send him on back down there to his teammates and celebrate a little bit. So, yeah, I just kind of teased it. Next week, it's going to be going overseas again. We did this last season with Twin Rings, and it was a really fun experiment and kind of opened the door for us doing that in other tracks as well. But the Cup Series going to go ahead and have 180 miles out at Twin Ring Motegi, 115 laps on a grueling circuit.
And not a lot of drivers, they weren't in the league last year. Not one you find yourself racing on very often, so it'll be interesting. You guys got to put a lot of practice and hopefully put on the same show they did tonight. Great racing out there.
Yeah, and I mean, this next 3-week stretch is grueling for the Cup Series, so we're going to really see who we got. Like I said, Twin Ring next week, and then they're going to Chicago Street Course the week after that, and then Darlington as well. So you can really come out on a slow start here if you really get behind on these 3 races.
Frustration and pain is all I see in the next 3 weeks for these guys. I mean, you enter Chicago street course. Let's put these things on a street course to see what they can do, and then of course, your Darlington Stripes. So these guys are really going to have tracks that definitely challenge them mentally for the next few weeks. It'll be fun to watch.
All right, well, another fun one tomorrow as we get the Truck Series on out into Kansas Speedway. So definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that little bell so you know exactly when we go live tomorrow. Going to be an 8:55 p.m. Eastern Time start as well with myself and Brandon Domain. We're going to have some Truck Series action at Kansas. Personally, one of my favorite tracks, so definitely come on back for that one. But that's going to do it for us here tonight for the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series here at Nashville. Definitely tune in tomorrow night. Have a good night and go faster.